Hey, what's up, guys? Red Wolf here. So, this is a topic I thought about for a few days now. When I reviewed Wolverine and the X-Men, a few of my subscribers have talked about how much it sucks for the show to get canceled, and how if it wasn't for Disney buying out Marvel, then the show would have continued. Now, I'm not 100% sure if that was the reason, but seeing as how Spectacular Spider-Man was canceled around the same time because of the buyout, seems to me like the buyout had something to do with the Wolverine and the X-Men getting canceled. Which brings me to this: what if Disney never bought Marvel? Now, why am I doing this video? Well, it's because ever since Disney bought Marvel, there have been some things going on in the industry that I did not like, especially the buyout of Fox's X-Men library, which since then I have not watched any MCU movie aside from Infinity War, which I thought was good. But after part 2, I am done with the franchise completely. And honestly, the only positive thing I see coming out of this Fox buyout is Disney reviving Wolverine and the X-Men for a second season, which I doubt would happen because Disney just loves to reboot a lot of Marvel's animated shows and give us more shows like Avengers Assemble or Ultimate Spider-Man that are not interesting and only appeal to kids. I'm not going to be interested in a future crossover with the Avengers and the X-Men because I don't like the MCU movies. At least for the most part, because I do like The Winter Soldier, the first Iron Man movie, and Infinity War Part 1. And personally, for me, in my opinion, I would have preferred if Disney had not bought out Marvel. And I'll tell you why. Now, to start things off, I understand why the buyout happened. Marvel had to sell to Disney due to the finance situation. So if Disney didn't buy them either, then someone else would, like Paramount. Or they would have had to sell parts off to cover debt. Now, some people would assume if the buyout didn't happen, then the MCU wouldn't happen the way it did. Here's how I see it. The MCU still would have happened. And honestly, it would have been just fine if Disney bought them or not. Because here's the thing. Marvel were already successful before Disney came along. Don't believe me? Look at Blade, the X-Men movies, and the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. Sure, not all of those movies were good critically, but they were still successful. All Disney did was buy them, because Disney saw something that was already successful and had the money to buy Marvel, and left Kevin Feige to do whatever he wanted. If Kevin Feige had a problem, Disney would have just came in to fix it. Disney did not have that much of an impact to the MCU's success, besides making the franchise more family-friendly as the MCU grew in popularity, which I'll get to. However, I will say that they would be a bit more careful with the lesser-known characters like Black Panther, the Guardians of the Galaxy, Ant-Man, and Doctor Strange, since they couldn't afford a flop like Disney can. But aside from that, the MCU would still be very successful, and their content would be a little more mature and deep. Because let's not forget, Iron Man started when Marvel was its own thing, and it turned out damn fine, because the movie was a huge success. It's not like the Marvel movies would be very disorganized like the movies from the early 2000s, like Daredevil, Elektra, and the Hulk. With Kevin Feige remaining as a president of Marvel Studios and continuing to be the guiding force to the MCU, it would have been just fine. And you still would have gotten your ultimate crossover with the Avengers movie. And as for the mature content, Marvel produced Iron Man and the Hulk, which had minor sex scenes. Something that Disney would probably never allow even if they're explicit. And honestly, I think their films would be darker. Not super dark, and I'm not saying darker means better, but their movies would take themselves more seriously and not crack a bunch of unnecessary jokes. Maybe Ultron would have been what we thought he would be in the first Avengers 2 trailer. Also, more care would have been given to the actual comics, and quality would have been much higher without all of that PC agenda and the SJW bullshit. I don't know how much Disney plays a part to that, but seeing the direction they're going with the Star Wars movies, it seems like a good guess that Disney does play a part to that. And seeing how much DC is kicking their ass with the Rebirth, it seems like DC know what they're doing, unlike Marvel, who just mess up things in the comics and have no way to clean it up other than rebooting their universe. However, in terms of movies, that's been a complete opposite. But I will say, aside from atrocities like some kiddie version of the 2003 Teen Titans that will not be mentioned, DC has been a lot more consistent in their animation department lately. I mean, come on, the last good animated series Marvel has done were Spectacular Spider-Man, Wolverine and the X-Men, and Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, but were all sadly canceled too soon. And getting back to the animation department, if it wasn't for this damn buyout, then those three shows I just mentioned would have continued and probably, and I repeat, probably would have made it to their series finale, that is assuming nothing bad happens to prevent the cancellations for these shows. Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, I will say, was made under the Disney banner, but Disney made the decision to cancel it because to them, the whole purpose of the show was to hype up the Avengers movie that was coming out in 2012, because the MCU and the Avengers is such a great thing, right? Right? And because of those cancellations, it led to Disney to rebooting those shows for crappier shows just for the sake of selling toys. And look, I know Disney is a business, but why can't they make better animated shows? You look at how tame Marvel's animated shows are, and it's actually sad that such a strong company with great characters ended up becoming the most pathetic brand in the animation department. And it's sad because I actually do prefer Marvel's animated shows over their movies. Yes, I said it, and I don't fucking care. To me, I'd much rather watch Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes than any Avengers movie from the MCU. Why? Maybe it's because they stay more true to the source material than their movies do. I mean, come on. If you actually thought that that was Ultron from Age of Ultron, then you are just some dumb casual who never read a comic book in their life and just watch these movies because of the popularity. Now, as for the Netflix series, they probably wouldn't have happened the way it did. And if it did, then they probably would have been separate realities, maybe even produced by separate studios. We probably wouldn't have such merchandise, product tie-ins, or even see many commercials. And here's another theory. Maybe George Lucas wouldn't have sold Star Wars to Disney. Without the success of the MCU as a template, there really isn't any incentive to do so. Which means we wouldn't have to suffer with Disney ruining Star Wars with all of this SJW nonsense. Now, I myself am not really a huge Star Wars fan, but I do understand where the fans are coming from when it comes to SJWs invading the things you love the most just to push their stupid agenda. Or hell, maybe the Deadpool animated series wouldn't have been cancelled in production because something tells me Disney had something to do with it. And going back to the MCU, I did hear that they would be only releasing one movie per year, because that's what they were shooting for before the buyout. But since Disney bought them out, their backing is what allowed them to ramp up to 2 movies to 3 movies per year. Some people would see it as a bad thing to only get 1 movie per year, but for someone like me, I am fatigued with all of these MCU movies, and not just MCU movies, but superhero movies in general. I mean, every single year there's like 6 movies being released, and honestly, I only have time for 1. And honestly, I think the industry would be better if Disney did not buy Marvel. Now look, I'm not expecting people to take this video seriously, because this is just me giving my theory on what would have happened, but if you have a better theory, then leave it down in the comment section below, or make a video response to me. Or if you disagree, then be sure to tell me how wrong I am in the comment section. But anyways, this is Red Wolf signing out, and I'll see you next time. Peace.